Support for this episode is provided by Mohawk Finishing Products. From sandpaper to fill sticks, Mohawk has all your finishing needs. And Starbond, Starbond Premium Superglue. Learn more about Starbond at starbond.com. Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm John Peters, and this is part 2 of the Bookcase project. If you didn't see part 1, definitely check that out. I'll have a link in the description. In this episode, we'll trim out the flat panels, we'll make a solid white oak top for the top of the bookcase, and we'll make and install white oak bead molding at the bottom of the bookcase to finish it off. For the flat panels on the sides and back of the cabinet, I'll use a combination of bead molding and a piece of tapered molding that I'll make on the table saw. I'll start by ripping 3/4 inch MDF at 1 1/4 inches. Next, I'll set the fence at 1/2 inch and change the angle of the blade to 5 degrees. To get started, I'll cut a 45-degree angle on one end of the bead molding, and this is the same bead molding I used to trim out the face frame. Now I'll line up the mark on the molding with the curve on my sacrificial fence and make the cut. So you can see that's still a little heavy, and I want to take off just the slightest bit. So I'm going to mark this with a pencil and show you how to do that. To understand how this works, you need to know that the tooth of the blade is actually thicker than the blade itself. So if I take this business card, you can see how the business card stops when it hits that tooth. Now with the saw not running, I'll drop the blade down and gently push the molding until it hits the side of the blade. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, it's just touching the side of the blade. And then when I raise the blade up, if I try to bring the blade down again, you can see that it hits the molding, and that's the little bit of material I'll be cutting away. Perfect. Now I'm getting ready to build the top of the bookcase. I'm making the top out of Quarter Sawn White Oak, and I had to make a pretty big decision at the lumberyard as to where to make the first crosscut, simply to get the board in my truck. Now I'm going to crosscut the second board to a rough length, and then I'll use the jointer and the table saw to mill the boards to size. Before milling the boards to width, I'll use Starbond adhesive to fill a gap that will be on the bottom of the top. Starbond adhesive is great for filling small gaps and those quick repairs. With a 10 to 20 second dry time, it allows you to keep working on the project. I'm using a biscuit joiner to join the boards together, and the biscuits will help to keep the boards aligned during the glue up. I've let the glue set up for a few hours and now I can remove the clamps. And usually I try to remove most of the glue with a wet rag, but since white oak has a very deep grain, this time I let the glue skim over and I'll try to remove the bulk of it with a chisel. Now I can sand the top and cut it to size. Now that I have the top sanded and cut to size, I'll use a cove bit in the router to put a slight cove in the bottom of the top to make the top look a little bit lighter. Okay, well, the cabinet is really starting to come together now, and the last thing I need to do is make bead molding out of white oak for the bottom of the cabinet, and this is the same bead molding that I used on the face frame and the flat panels. For the primer, I'm using Fresh Start by Benjamin Moore, and the finish color is Dove White, also by Benjamin Moore. The clear coat is Finisher's Choice Clear Lacquer by Mohawk Finishing Products.